Hello and welcome. My name is Alan, and we are back with more the state governments and officials for the states 2025 to 2026. Today we are looking at the government for the state of Arizona. Now, it, like Alaska, like Alabama, very similar to the United States. 3 branches with a bicameral legislature, a Senate, and a House. They do have a number of elected government officials in the executive branch, but they did not, until recently, set up for a lieutenant governor. With that said, let's take a quick look at this. The lieutenant governor of Arizona is an elected office in the U.S. state of Arizona that will be established January 4th, 2027, following the 2026 Arizona gubernatorial election, which was decided with the passage of Prop 131 in the 2022 election. The position will be elected on a joint ticket with the governor. So, apparently, they did not have an electable lieutenant governor up to this point. So that's unusual, differing from other states. Like I said, some states are different. They have more elected officials in the executive branch versus some states having just a couple. I think Alaska, it was just a couple. But yeah, interesting. But with that said, let's go ahead and first jump into the executive. We have, as your governor, Katie Hobbs. And she is a Democratic governor, which for a long time Arizona reflected a very red state. But it's become more and more purple as the years have gone on. So it's become a state in swing that can go either way. Your Secretary of State, Adrian Fontes, Democrat. Your Attorney General, Chris Mays, Democrat. Your State Treasurer, Kimberly Yee, Republican. Your Superintendent of Public Instruction, which I think is more with education, Tom Horn, Republican. Now, the state mine inspectors, they say here it's Paul Marsh, while on the Arizona State mining team, the Arizona State Mine Inspector says Les Presmick. So I don't know if that's a more recent change, who is the exact one. But one of these 2 men were decided upon as the elected members of the executive department. for Arizona. I guess I could open this up and check, see Paul Marsh, see if he is or no longer, or... That's not what I wanted. I wanted to see about Paul Marsh, not his picture. Okay, so he was, but Les Presmick apparently is the current Arizona mine inspector. So yeah, don't worry about Paul Marsh. It is apparently that Les Presmick. Now, with that, let's go ahead and they also have what's called the Elected Corporation Commissioners. I don't know exactly what they do. See if this will list it here. Pause. Arizona Corporation Commission's mission is to power Arizona's future by ensuring safe, reliable, and affordable utility services, power, water, growing Arizona's economy as we help local entrepreneurs achieve their dream of starting a business, modernizing an efficient, effective, and responsive government agency, and protecting the Arizona citizens by enforcing an ethical securities marketplace. The 5 commissioners elected to the Corporation Commission oversee executive, legislative, and judicial proceedings on behalf of Arizonans when it comes to their water, electricity, telephone, and natural gas resources, as well as regulation of securities, pipeline, and railroad safety. So yeah, water, electricity, and other general goods for the state. But yeah, these are the elected commissioners. Leah Marquez Peterson, Republican. Rachel Walden, Republican. Kevin Thompson, Republican. Renee Lopez, Republican. And Nick Myers, Republican. So these all make up the elected officials for the executive department. Now, there is also a cabinet. Finding the heads, the secretaries for each cabinet was a bit difficult, so what we'll just do is we'll list off the departments themselves. The Department of Administration, Department of Agriculture, Department of Child Safety, Department of Commerce, Department of Corrections, Department of Economic Security, Department of Education, Department of Emergency and Military Affairs, Department of Environmental Quality, Department of Fire, Building and Life Safety, State Forestry Division, Game and Fish Department, Department of Gaming, Geological Survey, Department of Homeland Security, Healthcare Cost Containment System, Department of Health Services, Historical Society, Department of Housing, Department of Insurance and Financial Institutions, Department of Juvenile Corrections, State Land Department, Department of Liquor Licenses and Control, State Schools for the Deaf and Blind, Department of Public Safety, Department of Real Estate, Board of Regents, Registrar of Contractors, Residential Utility and Consumer Office, Department of Revenue, School Facilities Board, Office of Tourism, Department of Transportation, Department of Veterans Services, Department of Water Resources. Used to be a Department of Weights and Measures, but that was eliminated in 2015. They also have a number of boards and commissions, non-elected. Commission for the Deaf and Hard of Hearing, Commission of Indian Affairs, Independent Redistricting Commission, Judicial Conduct Commission, Power Authority Commission, State Boxing Commission, State Lottery Commission, State Board of Dispensing Opticians, State Parks Board. So yeah, that is a look at their executive branch for Arizona. Let's go ahead and now look at the courts, the judicial system. The Arizona Supreme Court is the highest court in Arizona and currently consists of one Chief Justice, one Vice Chief Justice, that's something different, and 5 Associate Justices, so altogether a 7-man court. It has appellate jurisdiction in death penalty cases, so they can always be appealed up to the Arizona Supreme Court, but almost all other appellate cases go through the Arizona Court of Appeals beforehand. So yeah, your death penalty cases can go straight to the Arizona Supreme Court without having to wait through appellate courts. The Court of Original Jurisdiction in a few other circumstances as outlined in the state constitution, or has original jurisdiction in a few other circumstances. The court may also declare laws unconstitutional, but only when seated en banc, or en banc. All the judges of a court sit to hear a case, not just one judge or a smaller panel. So, if the entire court's in the session, they can call a law unconstitutional. The court meets in the Arizona Supreme Court building at the Capitol Complex at the southern end of Wesley Boland Plaza. The Arizona Court of Appeals, further divided into 2 divisions, is the intermediate court in the state and hears and decides cases in 3 judge panels. Division 1 is based in Phoenix, consists of 16 judges, and has jurisdiction in the western and northern regions of the state, along with the greater Phoenix area. Division 2 is based in Tucson, consists of 6 judges, and has jurisdiction over the southern regions of the state, including the Tucson area. So yeah. So Division 1, 16 judges. Division 2, 6 judges. The Arizona Superior Court is the court of general jurisdiction. The Superior Court also acts as an appellate court for justice and municipal courts. The Arizona Justice Courts are non-record courts of limited jurisdiction in each county, presided over by Justice of the Peace, who is elected for a 4-year term, that have jurisdiction over civil lawsuits where the amount in dispute is $10,000 or less, landlord and tenant controversies, small claims cases, and the full range of civil and criminal traffic offenses, including DUIs and other types of misdemeanor allegations, e.g., shoplifting, writing bad checks, violating restraining orders. So, local and smaller crimes. And the Arizona Municipal Courts, also known as city courts or magistrate courts, are non-record courts of limited jurisdiction that have criminal jurisdiction over misdemeanor crimes and petty offenses committed in the city or town, and shared jurisdiction with justice courts over violations of state law committed within the city or town limits, and hear misdemeanor criminal traffic cases such as driving under the influence of alcohol, hit and run, and reckless driving where no serious injuries occur, and hear civil traffic cases, violations of city ordinance and codes, and issue orders of protection and injunctions prohibiting harassment, and can also issue search warrants. So yeah, your municipal or magistrate courts tend to be general stuff that the public is in need of. Marriage licenses, this, that. But anyway, let's see. Arizona is divided into political jurisdictions designated as counties, which derive all their power from the state. Incorporated cities and towns are those that have been granted home rule, possessing a local government in the form of a city or town council. So yeah, Phoenix or a small town that's incorporated that has its own town council. Towns that are not fully incorporated don't count in that instance. Now let's look at the Arizona State Legislature. Much like the last two states we looked at in the United States federal government, the Arizona Legislature, 2 houses, a Senate house, a Senate chamber, and a House chamber. As you can see, currently we have in the Senate, there is a 30 members, and I'm not sure what these are, 23, 24. I guess it's based on the redistricting. So some members based on the year 25-26 session, 23-27. So it should be 17 Republicans, 13 Democrats in the Senate. So even though Republicans lead, it's by a slim margin. In the House, there are 60 members, and you have currently, based on the 2025-2026 districting, it should be 33 Republicans to 27 Democrats. Now, I don't know if it's that the 2025-2026 map is not yet legal or exactly what's going on, but yeah. Anyway, either way, it's still a slim margin. And then down here you've got a list of elected senators, I think is what these are. Yeah, first 30 senators, and then representatives and senators for past Arizona. And then list of the Arizona legislative districts if you want to look up more. But yeah, this has been a look at Arizona's government, how they do things. Again, as you can see, very similar, much the same. But with that, we'll go ahead and end this episode there. As always, educate thyself. Think, read, study, learn. Someone tells you something you have trouble believing, ask them to cite their sources. I'll be putting my links and sources in the description box below the video. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Until then, later.